Today's episode of Northern Lights is presented by North Star Law Group, a trusted partner to small businesses in Minnesota's legal cannabis industry. Whether you've already applied for a license or are just getting started, attorney Jen Riza and her team can help you build a compliant business, identify and navigate risks, put together an application, and keep you informed about the ever-changing Minnesota cannabis landscape. Are you ready to add North Star to your team? Visit northstarlaw.com/cannabis and let North Star Law Group guide you through confidently opening your doors. Again, that's northstarlaw.com/cannabis. Keeping track of your grow doesn't have to be a hassle. Meet Plant Track. That's PLNTRK, a tool built by Minnesota growers for growers like you. Track every stage of your plant with intuitive progress bars for each phase. Stay on top of your grow with text reminders for watering, feeding, and photos. And when it's time to log data, it couldn't be easier. Just scan a QR code or tap an NFC tag to instantly access your plant's details and updates. You can even log your interactions for one or all your plants in just seconds. Ask detailed questions with the AI chat powered by your plant's data and get the help that you need when you need it. It's free for up to 8 plants. Go to www.plntrk.com now and start tracking your grow. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Northern Lights. I'm your host, Tanner, joined today by John and Jordan. Hey there, guys.
Howdy.
Fellas.
2025, new year.
Same old us, yeah.
Happy to be back here at the Seed-In Sesh, kicking it off for episode 14.
Did you guys enjoy your new year, your transition to 2025, the year of the future?
I did, yeah. I'm loving having a wife where all of her friends are parents.
You should have stopped after
Yeah,
that.
I love having a wife. Period. Full stop. No, all of her friends are very new parents. So all of her friends' kids are like a year max. So every year prior to this, we've done some big New Year's Eve party. This year, we just chilled at home all night. It was the best. Shout out to Sarah's friends. You guys are really cool. Not anything against you, but I like a chill New Year's Eve.
That sounds fun. I stood in line forever and then sat in a packed room full of drunk people, and then
all right. Was it a cool line at least?
The line?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Kicked my girlfriend's ass in chess.
There we go.
We were in the line because we were in the line for a fucking hour.
And just to clarify, is this virtual chess, or did you guys bring a board and table with you?
No, chess.com. Yeah.
All right, that's fair.
Flipping the board.
What are you in line for?
Oh, Can Wonderland. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, we were just going to fly right past it. I appreciate you asking.
Yeah. Shout out Can.
Shout out Can. Super fun.
Worth the wait and maybe a line here and there.
I want, so for those who haven't been to Can Wonderland, check it out. They've got a wall you can go to, and it's just like put your card against it. You can get whatever drink you want. I want the equivalent of that, but like a dab bar, where it's just jars. And I get to go and scoop some, put my Dabbler tool down. It weighs how much I took, and then I just get to rip it.
Just rip it.
Because I loved being able to go and just like try a bunch of different drinks.
The beer wall is super
pretty cool. Yeah.
I don't know if I partook a couple nights ago, but
well, shout out to our new sponsor, Can Wonderland.
Can Wonderland.
No, just kidding.
We have very deep connections to this organization, so yeah, we could make that happen.
I say we should email them. They're very local people.
Yeah, that'd be cool. If you go upstairs to Blackstack, they've got Real Trees, THC beverages right there. It's a fun time.
I think I sat in Blackstack. This is completely.
This is what people listen for, John.
I sat in Blackstack one time while my girlfriend used the bathroom, and I was all I remember. And long story short, they gave me free beer.
Nice.
I guess that's all I got to say. So they're cool.
Did they feel bad for you for some? What was going on?
I bought beer, and then he was like, "Yo, he's like, you want this one?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so last time I got there, I got kind of lucky. It was nice.
That's pretty
cool. The Blackstack guys are good guys.
They were really
very
cool
good guys.
They chatted me up while my girlfriend was in the bathroom.
right next to the bathrooms, there's another business that does aerial aerobics. So if we've ever wanted to like spin from the ceiling,
Fly
suspended
Freak.
from rope, yeah,
go.
we could go and do
like,
that.
I remember being like, what the hell is Fly Freak?
Just go pound 2 triple IPAs and then string yourself up from some
Take to the
silks.
skies, yeah.
I feel like I would throw
And
up.
then, I don't know if the business
But
model
when you're
is
done,
landing.
you go to the basement, drink a little more, and play some mini golf.
There we go. Yeah. Some fun arcade games. All right, well, let's jump
back
into
to
it.
it.
Although, first, Jordan, did you have a good New Year's Eve?
It was excellent. Yeah, it was kind of a combination of your story specifically because I was at a chill party, but there was also many children under the age of 1.5 too. And then I looked at my partner and we both were like, oh, we're the only people here that don't have a kid, whether the kid's present or not. We were like, oh, we don't have, that's it. But hey, that's where we're at, folks.
Yeah. It's like that meme of there's all the people chatting at the party and there's the one guy against the wall. And it's like YouTube being like, they don't know that we have a bunch of fucking free time. And,
they all got.
They don't know I have a regular circadian rhythm.
Yeah, right. Well, so guys, we've been off for the past couple of weeks. People, if you are subscribed on YouTube, if you subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, which you definitely should go do. You also got a bonus episode that we dropped where we invited people at our holiday party to come into the studio, sit down, and tell us their high notes, something positive from the year. That was a fun episode. I really enjoyed that one.
I gotta watch that one.
Yeah.
I don't think we John didn't share.
No, I wasn't there.
2024
No,
high
I wasn't
note
there.
because he wasn't there. So I think we should get John's 2024 high note.
The only human being in the world who can outsmoke Snoop Dogg is Sam Darnold.
All right.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Hot.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not. Yeah, that's it.
All right. I love it. That's a good high note.
That was 2024 though. Who knows this year?
That gets us to the end of the show. So don't worry. We will get there. But yeah, guys, we've got a lot to cover today. We've got a couple different news stories, sort of reviewing.
The wrong person's gonna see that, and they're gonna make that man pee in a cup.
Hey, Sam, it's your turn for the random test.
Yeah, sorry, Sam. Friend of the podcast. Maybe not after this. No. We've got some news. We're going to be talking about what the future of cannabis looks like in Minnesota. It's a new year, but the rules are the same. We'll be talking about what that rollout will look like. We're also going to be talking about Vireo, a company here in Minnesota, and their expansion across the entire country. We touched on this story a little bit a couple weeks ago, but we've got an update. And then, guys, we're going to play a game today.
Ooh.
I know. I love a good game. Something new. And then we've got an interview with John Dugas of Superior Molecular a little bit later. You get to hear about his history in Minnesota cannabis, the creation of hemp-derived edibles that we all know today, and also what his thoughts are on milk. Do you drink chocolate milk? We'll get to this later. It doesn't matter.
It's a good interview.
It's a good one. And then at the end, we've got our high notes as always. But first off, I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone that did come to the holiday party. It was a fun time. Thank you to everyone that came and supported our podcast. It was cool to have people here, like filling up the entire Dabbler, or the Dabbler Depot here. The Seed and Sesh was session. And people were watching Northern Lights. So it was cool to have people out. So shout out if you were there.
Sounds fun.
Thank you. If you weren't, we'll catch you at the next one. We're gonna keep doing that for sure. And we've got a couple prizes here. Now, we did a raffle thanks to the incredible partners, Storks and Bickle. And we just want to shout out some of the winners. So Marty, who won the incredible Mighty Plus, come on down. We'll actually call you. But congrats on winning that one. We've also got a couple other winners here.
We got John over here.
So we've got the Venti, their new device. Shout out John for winning that one.
Oh, and a Crafty Plus. This was my OG for Mr. Joe Zhang.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Wonderful.
That's
well, so
awesome.
If this is your first time hearing that you won, come on down to the Seed and Sesh. Otherwise, we've called you. So hopefully you've picked this up by the time the episode has come out. But yeah, Jordan, thanks for bringing those over. Thanks to Storks and Bickle for making that happen.
Yeah, shout out Storks and Bickle.
Yeah.
When I was a young man, me and two friends split a Crafty.
Ooh, all right. That's pretty cool. I split a PAX with a friend, and I got to be honest, I think you made the better choice.
Oh, yeah. Like, whoever, possession, it's 3/4 of the law. Like, whoever takes it out with them is the winner.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Well, so let's sort of jump into the news, because we've got an unclear future in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Both in terms of cannabis, but also just legislation generally. So in terms of cannabis, we're at this in-between time. We know that the process for people to apply for licenses will open up come spring of this year. We know that people will be able to get verified as social equity applicants again, or maybe your first time, come this winter. And if you want to request a refund for your application from the pre-approval round, you got to do it by January 10th, which, according to my notes, is only 3 days after this episode comes out. So make sure you request that if you want your money back from round one.
I told someone that today, and they're like, no. I'm going to get the next one. I was like, I like the attitude.
Yeah, I like it. You know, stick it out. But we don't yet have stores up and running. No. It's looking like that's all going to be coming into play late summer, early fall, about 2 years after it became legal to possess and grow cannabis in Minnesota. We're finally going to have stores possessing and growing and selling cannabis.
On like Minnesota land.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll see in the interim how much the tribes keep like expanding. Like I feel like there was a little bit where every show we had an update from them.
Absolutely. And another part of like us being in that in between is we've heard rumors that compacts could get signed in the next couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. We don't exactly know with what specific groups or what exactly those look like.
You know what I was thinking about? It was like Tim Walz coming back and like how much negotiation was happening when he wasn't there, when him and his top staff straight up weren't there, and then coming back because they negotiate the compacts directly with the executive branch.
Yep.
So it's like Peggy Flanagan was presumably leading those negotiations. Now it's back to Tim Walz. It's an interesting dynamic. If anyone saw that Star Tribune article.
Ooh, yeah.
I gotta say.
I was going to touch on that. For those that haven't seen, allegedly the governor and lieutenant governor are not talking or super collaborating, super working together. Maybe Governor Walz came back and was like, man, Peggy, you sort of assumed the governorship while I was gone and isn't thrilled about that. Again, just speculation and rumors, but interesting to see how our executive branch.
But isn't that just like what you do?
That's sort of the whole role of the
legislature. Yeah, to wait till he leaves and
you're the lieutenant. Yep.
But yeah, really interesting to see how the tribes continue to expand while we wait for everyone else to get their licenses.
Yeah. And then throwing even more questions into the muck, we've got the Minnesota legislature. So let's talk about this is perhaps the most unclear the Minnesota legislature has been in the history of our state.
I was going to say ever.
So what happened? Well, so a few different things came together. We had an election that was really close. Yeah. We had a Senate where the DFL had a 1-seat majority and a House where it was evenly split. Yeah. Second time in Minnesota history.
Which at first, and that even was contested during the whole thing. Like election night and the weeks after election night, there was a lot of confusion surrounding who's in charge, and then it fell into a tie.
So adding some of that confusion, House District 40B, we had DFL win that seat. It covered part of Roseville and Shoreview. However, the Republican who lost in that election filed a challenge because apparently Curtis Johnson, the guy who won, doesn't live in the district and hasn't forever. Just had an apartment and was residing at a house in a different part of the state. Not a great look.
And I believe the issue started with redistricting, which was a couple years ago now.
Yeah, so something that sort of should have been resolved.
Yeah, and I was looking into the investigation. Did you look into it at all?
Oh, yeah.
Because
let's be honest, it was the other candidates, essentially volunteers, who went outside of his house and photographed weeks after weeks showing, he's not here. No. His car isn't here. And even worse, his car is at a house in a different district, and you see him coming in and out and live his whole life there, which,
with his family,
power to you, go live at your house, but then don't get elected in a different district. All right, so we had a judge look at that, throw out his election. So now we've got an open seat there that there is a special election coming up, but not before the House comes to session.
Yeah, special election day they're supposed to start.
Yeah, January 14th is when the the primary. Or that's when so that's when the primary. Also, when the session comes back, January 28th is when that special election is. So 2 weeks is going to be with the Republicans in control and
assumed control.
Adding to that, we had the death of Minneapolis DFLer Carrie Dursick, who passed away, now leaving the Senate in a 33-33 tie. She will also have, or her seat, will also have a special election, same timeline, but also puts us at that. We'd had a 1-seat majority in the Senate, DFL, and now it's back to deadlock.
Yeah.
And even more, we talked about this one past a lot on the show, Senator Nicole Mitchell, who allegedly broke into a house. Her trial is scheduled to start later this month.
Yeah.
So we'll know more about that. One interesting part that I wanted to pull out is they're not allowed to refer to her as senator at all during the trial because the prosecutors ruled that it doesn't really relate to this case. Mm-hmm. She's a person.
Yes, and we have a citizen legislature, so it literally doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, so Mitchell, we want to throw in, she did plead not guilty, so we're still waiting to see the verdict on that.
We got to let it all play out, but the question is how much can she vote during that?
And when she was asked, are you going to be resigning if you're convicted, she refused to say anything, which I don't think is a good look. And so we're at this situation where we don't really know who is in charge in the House or the Senate. There's a quote that I pulled from Stephen Schleiser from Carleton College that said, we're at a unique point in Minnesota political history.
To say the least.
Yeah, and I think that's such an apt way of putting it. A very unique point of not really knowing who is in charge and adding, fire to the whole thing. The GOP House Speaker designate has come out and said that because the Republicans hold a practical majority and that they hold more seats than the DFL, they should be able to choose the speaker. They should be able to make decisions. Mm-hmm. They should be able to do all of this. But what's tricky is that the guidance from the Minnesota legislature says that for bills to pass, they need 68 votes. And so if we only have 67 members of each party, what do? We need at least one person to cross for anything. To happen.
Yes. And the big thing this year is the spending bill. But to add more context to that, we have, or the GOP and the DFL have already negotiated leadership positions. Because before Curtis Johnson left his seat, they had negotiated co-chairs, co-speakers, co-assistant speakers, floor leaders. Mm-hmm. And I believe now the Republicans are saying, forget all that. Nope, you guys lost one.
Yep.
We now control everything.
Yeah.
So, even the stuff that's officially on the MN Ledge website right now could potentially change. And I was listening to, shout out Blois Olson, best political reporter.
Oh, yeah, such a good political reporter.
We all know that, yeah. But I was listening to his show, and it's other than 1979, where we had a tied legislature, we haven't seen anything close to this. So there's there's a little chance where there could be a boycott, or like you said, no one, even if they get back in, no one will go over ever, and we get nearly nothing done.
Yeah, which as a person who likes well-functioning government, I think is bad, but silver lining. As someone who really likes clear rules for cannabis businesses, we're not going to probably have much change in terms of the rules over the next year, maybe two.
For anything.
Yeah. So people that are trying to open a business saying, will the legislature pass a bill that might change things? Likely no. Will the legislature pass a bill acting on the recommendation to legalize certain psychedelics in Minnesota? Likely not. Maybe, and that's...
See, there are issues where you can find that one person from the other side who is you know what, this is my jam.
And maybe that's what this leads to. Forever the optimist, maybe this leads to some really interesting forms of compromise in our government.
I'm hoping. We have a really good legislature here in Minnesota. I think people on both sides communicate well with their districts and really try to do stuff. Like when one side has complete control, we see a lot happen.
Yeah,
like
very true.
Last
session is a perfect example.
Yeah, but GOP trifectas have like actually like done stuff in this state too. So it's like maybe we'll be forced to pragmatic policy making. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping everyone's like, okay, we can talk.
More to come. I mean, this is one of those stories that we'll continue to watch throughout the next couple of months.
We should say, rest in peace, Carrie Dietzick.
Yeah, for sure.
Long time leader here in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was a special politician.
Absolutely. One of the votes that was essential in getting legalization across the finish line, getting this all to happen.
And keeping all those votes together, which she did after her cancer diagnosis. So like she's been one of the best leaders I've observed in politics. So we'll miss her. Yeah.
Yeah, 100% agree. Well, so like I said, we'll keep watching that one over the next couple of months. The session begins in just a couple of weeks here, goes through May. Who knows what will happen over the next 5 months?
Who knows? Hey, and if you want to run for 40B, too late.
Yeah, unfortunately, you had to have filed that very, very quickly. When Walz made the call that, hey, we're doing the special election, the turnaround time was like, you got to let them know the next day.
Usually like a few days anyway.
And that's how special elections work.
Yeah, it's like, you're like, oh my God. I saw a bunch of Republicans posting. It's like, yeah, like you're going to win, bro. Like suddenly you care about like who.
And that's the funny part about this is both of the seats that we're talking about, deeply blue districts, they're not going to switch Republican. Mm-mm. It's just this in-between time where they don't have someone seated there, where that vote isn't being cast. But it's not like it's ever going to become, at least in our current political arrangement, Republican-controlled seats.
Yeah, but we could be in a weird spot.
Yeah,
if the Republicans, the first 2 weeks before that special election, if they can vote for a speaker, vote for leadership in the committees, then you will have like a tie, but they will be having a working majority, where it's like they are the working majority party.
Yeah,
which will be interesting.
Jordan, I think you should run for political office.
I've always considered that, and the sign would say, "I'm here, but I don't want to be."
I like that.
You might win.
Yeah.
I think it speaks to the realism that it's like, hey, this is a bad situation, and a guy who has no qualifications or interest in being here has been empowered and encouraged to step in and be like, guys, can we do better here? Like if it's me, we've failed.
Back in this is history teacher Tanner coming out. Back in ancient Greece, they had a system for a moment of time where they had like a draft to get people into the elected body, where it wasn't like you got elected. It was and you got picked. Your marble got.
That's how they did in Athens, right?
Yeah. And so I think it would be certainly interesting if we had like a citizen body that was not elected, but just, hey man, sorry, you got the short straw. So
honestly,
next 6 months you're in St. Paul.
I don't see how that's any different from the way we run our jury system. But now it'll be like, it doesn't even have to be like you're the legislator. It's like you're an advisory. You have to advise on this.
Yeah.
No choice.
Honestly, we probably would have gotten legal cannabis sooner.
Way sooner.
Yep.
Well, we've got one other story that we're going to talk about, and then we're going to jump into a game. But I did want to address this one. Now, we talked about it previously on the show about the multi-state operator based out of Minnesota, Vireo, raising a ton of money, both expanding their footprint into other states and expanding how much capital they have to operate here in Minnesota. Now, over the break while we were off, they officially closed that entire private offering, raising just over $81 million. That's a chunk of change. Decent chunk of change. They're going to be using that money to help in business development, organic growth, all that stuff. But in essence, they're buying companies that are operating in Missouri, Nevada, Utah, and Florida, expanding their market into a wide variety of states.
I'll say I know Utah just switched over to hemp laws that are very similar to Minnesota's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Florida has a pretty well expanded hemp program, and the Flowery makes some really interesting products. 710 Labs, which is one out of Colorado, the Flowery grows and processes all of their stuff that they make in Florida. So it's an interesting sort of. I've not heard of some of these other names before. I've definitely heard of that one before. I've not heard of Proper Brands or
Never heard of Proper
Deep
Brands.
Root Harvest, but they're really focused on trying to expand what they offer and creating, the real value of multi-state operators is that they're able to have synergies across multiple different markets, and they're creating a delivery and analytics platform that they're calling Arches that will only be available to companies that are in that Vireo portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want your products delivered seamlessly to someone's doorstep, or you want to be able to track what people are buying across the state of Minnesota, you gotta be part of this bubble, which I think is a neat value add of the, what is really multi-state operators have versus small craft business. Well, it's the scale, and the things that you can do with scale is massive.
You can buy when you can go out and buy like known companies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that is your advantage.
Yeah.
It's like you can always be there. You can always dominate.
Yep. Do you want to be a hemp beverage manufacturer? Purchase one. Do you want to be in this market? Buy the rights to it. Yeah. Now suddenly your business is able to expand at a rate that is just insurmountable to, insert small local grower here.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I'm curious to see where that money ends up getting utilized here in Minnesota. We've seen some indication that they're starting to build out a grow facility in Elk River.
I feel like that is where the money is going. We know supply is going to be the problem. Mm-hmm. I would hope Vireo is thinking about that a little harder than we are.
Yeah, that's fair. And especially being able to be the supplier, selling this product to retailers across the state of Minnesota, to tribes, to insert whatever system you want here.
And then buying these other companies, it's like you can take their SOPs, you can take their best practices, and just bring their best talent even.
Yeah.
You can just straight up bring someone from the flowery and be like, okay, I need you to run this in Minnesota.
Yep.
And I think that's, they're gonna be ready, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. So $81 million. John, if you had $81 million, what would your grow facility look like?
It'd be like the Sphere.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
But it's a greenhouse.
I love that.
But it's surround. There's something. What do you call those domes?
Like geometric dome.
Yeah, dude. There's a guy whose greenhouse is that in South Minneapolis.
Oh, all right.
It's like it looks like it's a repurposed.
Oh, you know what? I think I've driven past it before.
It's like right off of Lake Street. If you you keep going down,
totally.
It's like on like 31st or something.
I wanna grow weed there,
dude. That's like the thing I thought about when you asked the question. It's like, one of those big domes, but like bigger, and then maybe put some stained glass here and there. I'd really have to burn 81.
That'd be cool.
Mine's gonna go lava lamps everywhere.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Sick.
And beanbag chairs.
Dude, think about 2 layers of lava.
Dude, how many beanbag chairs can you get for $80 million?
At least 5.
At least 5.
Do you think you could use the light of a lava lamp to grow plants? Could you get a lava lamp bright enough?
I was thinking.
Yeah, it's not the brightness issue. Yeah. It's more the
volume.
Volume. Yeah, if you have enough of them, sure. Yeah.
Imagine
and if you're using the right bulbs, sure. Yeah.
Are you a manufacturer of lava lamps? Do you want to be sponsored by Northern Lights Podcast? Reach out. We've got a project for you. Oh.
Do you want to sponsor?
Yeah. There we go. Do you want to sponsor? There we go. Thank you.
Back to one. Take it.
Thank
marker.
Thank you. Do you own a lava lamp? Do you want to sponsor? Shit. All right. We'll put them both in. All right. So
we'll cut them together.
Yeah, I'm just so curious to see what Vireo ends up doing with all that capital. And yeah.
Man, are people gonna be upset with whatever they do?
With what? And that's the thing. Like, no matter what they do.
No matter what. It's just, it just happens.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a short break. And when we get back,
Games.
A game. We'll be right back. Are you ready to kick off your home grow? We've got the perfect hookup for you. Minnesota-cannabisseeds.com. They've got everything from fast flowering strains to unique hybrids, all ready for growing in Minnesota. And guess what? Our listeners get an exclusive deal. Use the code NL10 for a 10% discount on your entire order. Don't miss out. Get the best seeds and start your grow strong with MinnesotaCannabisseeds.com. Remember, NL10 for 10% off. That's MinnesotaCannabisseeds.com. Grab your seeds today. back to like the 70s, pre-indoor hybridization in America, you still had people that were shipping Maui Wowie into Minnesota.
No doubt, right? I mean, even like people who don't smoke weed, Maui Wowie is like this recognizable strain that everybody knows about. So
yeah,
I'm super excited about it.
Cannabis history in Minnesota is one of my like nerdy points. I just find it so interesting. And there's a guide that was put together by the Minnesota Daily, so the student newspaper for the U of M, way back in the 70s, that looked at all the different pricing for like hashish and different types of weed. It had Mexican brick on there. It had Thai stick, and it had Maui Wowie as like one of those classics that people knew by name. And it's cool that that genetic lineage is something that we can bring forward to today, and doesn't just have to be an experience of the 1970s. It can be an experience of 2024, 2025 here in Minnesota.
Yeah, no doubt, right? And it's funny, like guys my age, you know, gray beard and older, like it's the number one thing people ask me for. It's amazing. Like still to this day, everybody's like, yeah, what do you know about like Maui Wowie? Can you get that? So it seemed like a no-brainer, like, oh, we got to get this one in.
I love that. So people probably know Maui Wowie as like a classic sativa strain. But what can people expect a little bit more on that flavor profile? Like people have probably heard of Maui Wowie before. You've heard that talked about as like, oh, this is such a great cultivar for if you're looking for like an uplifting daytime. But what can you get on that flavor side?
Sure. Yeah. The effects, I would say, like more high energy. And then the pineapple flavor is definitely like, you know, the number one kind of noticeable distinguishing quality about it.
I love that. Yeah. Anything on that tropical fruit side of the entire end of the spectrum, I'm just such a fan of. And Maui Wowie is like the grandfather of that entire flavor profile. It has birthed so much cool stuff. So I'm excited to have Maui Wowie be sent to people all across Minnesota.
Yeah, so are we. It's going to be time.
So tell us a little bit more about this box. People can get Maui Wowie delivered directly to their doorstep, but what does that mean? What kind of stuff comes in that box?
Sure, yeah. Like the fun part about it, right, it's different every month. So you get a range of stuff depending on when you sign up. We get, you know, our partners involved, so as much swag and stickers and all that cool stuff as I can convince them to give me, then I pass it on. So it's really fun. You know, you kind of get a broad range of things.
Awesome. So I've gotten, you know, the Slurricane seeds. I've gotten the Blue Dream Auto seeds. But for people who maybe haven't been following along, maybe have been hesitant to sign up, but thinking, oh, Maui Wowie, now is the time. I got to do it. How would people go and get signed up to get those seeds?
Sure. MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com.
Awesome. Sweet. So that's MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com. You can enter that in right to that URL box. Get that entered in. Go get signed up for that box and have Maui Wowie seeds delivered right to your door.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you again for coming in today. We really appreciate it as always. And everyone out there, go get your seeds. It's time to grow. Would you like to play a game?
I would like to play a game.
A game made of games.
Oh, yeah, guys. It's a new year, new us. We're playing some games. Now, we're coming to I guess we're at the end of 2024. It's officially over in the books. And we've got a number of events that happened in the year in cannabis. And what we're going to do today is we're gonna rank them. You've seen those classic S, A, B tier things. Mm-hmm. We're going to be ranking ours into 4 different categories. How much of an impact do they have? How much do they matter? We've got 4 categories. The first one, and they all have very punny names, so I expect a wonderful laugh every time. Not the laugh track, though. I just want you to laugh real hard. All right, so the first one is Up in Smoke. Ha, ha, ha. There we go. Perfect. This is an event that is not impactful and probably will never get a mention on another Northern Lights episode. This is just, it's going to get its 10 seconds of fame. All right, it happened. Moving on. Next one, Puff, Puff, Pass. You know, it's sort of there for a moment. It was slightly impactful. We probably won't talk about it much in the future. You've passed it on, it's gone. Third category, Stuck Like Resin. This is an event that is pretty impactful. We'll probably keep talking about it in the future. And then finally, the grand poobah, if you will, the new 420. This is an event that is super impactful, a memorable moment in time, and you will keep talking about it in the future. Man, do you remember when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a list
Okay.
of things that happened this year that you guys don't have in front of you. You've not seen this list before. I'm going to be describing things that happened throughout the year, and we'll see, A, have you heard about that event? Is it impactful? And B, do you think it will matter in the future?
Can we just get a quick run through of the scale once more?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Up in smoke, not at all impactful.
Okay.
Puff, puff, pass, a little bit impactful.
Fine.
Stuck like resin, it's still around.
Pretty cool.
The new 420
Excellent.
defines our
420s.
culture.
God tier.
Sounds so cool.
It is
love
very much God tier, yeah.
I'm excited about this because I have opinions, obviously, and maybe some bias.
Yeah.
But
Well, and some have made their way onto the show in the past, so I'm excited to...
Say, isn't that what makes it fun?
yeah,
A
baby.
little bias.
A little conflict here and there. Woo.
All right, let's get started. So our first one here. Superboof is named Leafly Strain of the Year. Now, Superboof is a hybrid strain known for its vibrant citrus flavor and its versatile effects. It was honored as Leafly Strain of the Year. We don't talk about the whole history. We did a whole blur about it. But my question for you, do you guys think we'll keep talking about Superboof in the future? Or will it be yet another runts that it had its moment and then it was gone? What do you think?
I think it's trendy.
Trendy?
It's trendy, popular. Things are popular and trendy for a reason.
Do you think it will stick around?
I'm gonna put it in the puff puff pass.
All right.
Like,
Yeah.
is that how should we say? it
Totally.
now,
Yeah,
or
that's
should we
perfect.
Wait till
No, I think that is perfect.
okay,
Yeah,
'cause that's like
it was sort of impactful.
it was
but-
like cool. There's like I don't know if I heard a super booth.
okay, there we
So
go.
it's like
Yeah, Jordan, 5 years from
Kinda
now, if
cool.
someone was like, do you remember when Superboof was strain of the year? You'd be like, not really, but
Yeah, it's like who won the Super Bowl last year? I don't know. Like
the Vikings?
who?
No.
It doesn't. See, the
Niners
thing,
lost the Chiefs.
it doesn't matter, John.
All right.
But yes,
2 years ago, I
I
couldn't tell you.
I agree with John.
So puff, pass. All right.
Yeah.
It was there. Now it's gone. All right, next one. This was big news. Have you guys heard of Monogram? All right, well, Monogram was Jay-Z's cannabis brand. They were selling pre-rolls for $50+. And unfortunately, this year, after not being able to find enough suckers to buy those, they had to shut down operations, making it the first celebrity-endorsed cannabis venture to come to an end. Oh, yeah. Do you guys think we'll remember the day that Monogram was no more? Or do you think, like many other celebrity-endorsed products, this will just be one of those that,
Went up in smoke.
yeah.
Definitely, yeah. That's a trees falls in the forest situation.
All right.
This is the first I've heard about it.
I saw an article and giggled because I was like, that's what happens, right? They invest, they like do like one little marketing run, and then they see how many suckers they can get.
Unless you're Snoop Dogg, and then you just got tequila,
That's
you
an
got
actual
wine,
lifestyle.
you got weed, obviously. Like, oh yeah, Snoop Dogg's just on a side quest. He's just
where
perpetually
were
side
we-
questing.
Me and my girlfriend were somewhere, and she was like, they have the Snoop Dogg wine. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I've seen that before. It
Dude,
blows
was like,
me away.
It was like a Crave or something, like a restaurant. And I was like, what the fuck are they doing with all
Guys,
this?
Snoop Dogg wine.
I had that wine within the last week, and it was not the
everywhere.
first time I've had that wine. And it's good wine.
It must be. Dude. They brought out like 20 of them. I was like, what is
It's
happening?
good. It's good wine. Yeah.
All right, well, Jay-Z, you are up in smoke, alas. All right, here we go. The next one, sort of a political moment in history. This was the first election where both presidential candidates were in favor of reforming cannabis laws, making it easier for people to get cannabis. Well, Trump never fully went in favor of full legalization. He did support state measures to legalize cannabis, making 2024 the first pro-cannabis election we've ever had. Do you guys think that will be impactful? Is this a turning point in our political chapter? Or is that just sort of a neat piece of trivia for bar night in a couple years?
Yeah, I'll say puff, puff, pass on that one.
All right.
I'm gonna stay safe and say puff pass on that one. Also, but like
I say,
he has a lot of opinions about states.
yeah,
Choice.
one of those persons
So,
is like generic politician, and the other person is like complete maverick. So like can't
Yeah.
really count on the next GOP guy being like, okay, let's
Super fair.
yeah.
All right. Well, so goodbye, cannabis election.
Bye bye.
Puff, puff, pass.
Mine.
All right, next one. Another political one. States cracking down on hemp-derived cannabinoids. So up until this point, it's really been sort of the expansion of more and more hemp products. 2024, however, marked the change of that, where we saw states like California begin to actually ban hemp-derived products containing THC. And those legal challenges have been upheld in court, perhaps signaling a nationwide trend. Do you think the crackdown on hemp is here to stay? Will we remember, oh man, those hemp days, they were nice? Or do you think it's just sort of a momentary blip and then things will keep on moving towards legalization?
John, you can start.
Go first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for it and say this is the new 420.
Okay.
I think as like legalization spreads around the country, we're going to see the internal civil war that we've seen between hemp and cannabis, which are the same plant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's going to be the new deal that people really care about is like, if a state's legalizing it, are they keeping the hemp side or are they not?
Totally fair.
We're going to talk about it every time a state legalizes it.
Yeah. One plant, two communities. That's for sure.
I agree with John. Is like it feels a little watershedy momenty, and
New
like
York too.
it's like like if trends like that continue, it's like we see patterns, we see how these things unfold, and it's like at this point it's a foregone conclusion that like it is gonna be impactful as there's precedent being set by these large, slow moving bureaucratic institutions.
Totally.
Because it took New York, like they went through, it's like, oh, we're going to like roll back on it. And then it's like, no, it's not a full on ban.
Yeah.
And they kept changing. I think they had a bunch of people like quit or leave.
Yeah, well, and it was, I remember Minneapolis Cider Co. proudly announcing, like, you can get our products in New York. And then, like, a couple of weeks later having to say, like, actually, not anymore. No, you can't.
And didn't Mini Grown figure something out? I feel like they either started producing with.
I think we've seen so many businesses adapt to the different regulations, and the Iowa gummies I think are funny. The 2 milligram little bits and oh, good old Iowa.
Well, yeah, I do think that'll be the deal. It's like, how are we treating hemp? What products are we regulating and not regulating in hemp? Are we going to force it into like industrial stuff, or are we going to keep it in like recreational?
All right, so the fight for hemp, or the fight on hemp,
about hemp,
here to stay. Perhaps the new 420 of our industry.
It's gonna get loud.
It's going.
I think 2 decades ago, if you would have talked about hemp, not many people would likely know what you're talking about. And now I think it's a word that is very divisive in our industry.
Isn't it the group that makes the ice cream? Hemps?
Yeah.
All right, good family-owned business.
Hemps, or with a K. If you want to sponsor our show, reach out.
I was going to say, no, that's Kemps. You're thinking of the African singer.
There we go. Hemps, if you want to sponsor our show.
And Tanner, you say, no, that's Temps.
Oh, Temps. There we go. The sponsor. Yeah.
And we go on forever like that. Yeah.
I'm having a hard time coming up with any more.
No, I couldn't even. I was like, nothing even rhymes with hemp. I gotta go something that sounds.
My brain was blimp was what I went with.
That would work.
Well, good thing we got more categories. So let's move on to the next one. All right, another strain one for you guys. Now, this made huge waves across the heady hash community. Have you guys heard of the cultivar Skittles before?
Skittles, yeah.
All right, so defined in the industry, it goes back to 2016. It won the Emerald Cup. It's been a powerhouse since then. But 2024 was like the year of Z. Now, we have a bunch of major events across the world. Masters of Rosin, Ego Clash, both in California and Barcelona, and the Smoker's Jacket in New York. So 4 different communities all having these contests. Skittles or Skittles Crosses all claimed the top spot at every single competition. And some of them, it was even the second year in a row. At Ego Clash, Zeboof, a cross between Super Boof and Skittles, has won now for the second year in a row. Okay. Do you guys think Skittles is one of those cultivars that we'll see in crosses for years to come? Like, GMO or Blue Dream or whatever be it? Or do you think it's just sort of a moment in time and we'll sort of get sick of our sweet flavors in the next couple of years?
I can see that one being stuck like resin.
It's sticking around.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's sticking around. It's just so accessible. Whether you know every flavor profile or have never tried any strain before, like, you can enjoy it. And it's one of the first ones I like when I really started keeping track of, like, oh, I'm not just going and buying one marijuana, please. Like, I'm actually paying attention to what I'm getting. The Z crosses were just prolific. So that's I think we're sticking like yummy resin.
All right, stuck like resin. There we go. Well, so we're about halfway through. We've got Super Booth being named Strain of the Year, Jay-Z's brand going up in smoke. We've got the presidential candidates going up in smoke. But that hemp crackdown may be here to stay, and Skittles is stuck like resin. So we've got just a couple more here. Another big news story from the year. The DEA proposed rescheduling cannabis. Now, you guys might not remember this because it's been so goddamn slow, but back in May of last year, the Department of Justice submitted a proposal to officially reschedule cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. In the audio version of this podcast, way back 3 years ago, we were talking about, hey, it's looking like we might reschedule. Do you think that will be a major shift in how we look at cannabis? Do you think it could change how states operate? Or do you think rescheduling is just sort of a regulatory shift and then business as usual?
I think it's a lot about what the banks want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether the banks recognize that as, like, okay, is this the threshold that we now need to be able to, like, want to get involved?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's going to drive a lot of people's decision making, I think.
I'm stuck between stuck like resin and the new 420 because like it could be a thing that really squashes out small craft. Like to be legal and craft could become impossible with rescheduling. Just like because like what risk are the banks going to try to take? It's not going to be it's not going to be like, you know, John and Tanner's Northeast Grow. It's going to be like bigger companies and but also makes space for smaller places, smaller banks and financial institutions to get in there and kind of we need it though. That's like the messed up part is it is something that it'd be best if it was just completely unscheduled, but like it's the best way forward right now.
Well, no,
if that's what we're gonna do. It's
the in between. I like as a good. It's
but it could
probably gonna stick around, but maybe
it's up in stickiness.
Up in
stickiness. There we go. All right, a couple more. We'll move through these ones a bit quicker. Puffco launched a new device this year called the Pivot. You guys probably heard me talk about it. In fact, I even brought it into the studio a couple of times, but now it's sitting on my shelf at home. And the question that I have for you is, do you think the Pivot will be, as Puffco said, the pen killer? Will we as an industry move away from the Pendrick Lamars, as people have been calling them, the Benjamins, or are we gonna, you know, is that sort of stuck around? Do you guys think the Pivot is here to stay, or you know, are pens sort of too stuck?
There's absolutely a space in the market for that device. The folks like yourself are going to love something like that. But I think there's so many people that are driven by the convenience factor and the not, like, they can just whip it out of their pocket. There's no thinking to it. They just pop, turn it on and hit it. And so, like, I think it serves its purpose excellently well. But, yeah, is it here to be a game changer? Who knows? I don't think so.
I don't think we'll see. I'll say puff pass. It'll be like around. We'll talk about it as new ones come out. But it's like
I remember where I was the moment that the iPad was announced. Oh, do you think I'll remember where I was when I first read about the Pivot? Like I remember now because I was just like a couple months ago. But do you think 5 years from now I'll be like, oh, it all connected in that moment? Or do you think
maybe you will?
Yeah,
maybe you will. You
the heady boys.
You lock it in pretty well. So yeah, maybe you.
All right, that's fair. Well, we'll let that one go up in smoke. All right, next one, Seth Rogen. Have you guys heard of that guy before? Yeah, there we go. Have you guys heard of his brand Houseplant?
Sure have.
All right, so they sell smokeware. If you want like a $70 lighter, you can go and get a cool artsy little ceramic one. But they launched a hemp-derived beverage. You can now get Houseplant the drink. Sort of tying into the Jay-Z one that we did earlier.
So that's what
Do you think Houseplant the beverage is going to stick around? Will this be Seth Rogen's deep soiree into cannabis, or is this just sort of up in smoke?
Up in smoke.
Up in smoke.
Yeah,
I like his pottery.
I doubt
I like the ceramics, but I don't think this is the first time hearing about it as well. So,
All right, that's fair.
It's just called Houseplant.
Yeah, it's just called Houseplant. So, yeah, that's up in smoke. That's gone. Sorry, Seth. They're 3 milligrams. You can get 4 of them for $20.
jeez,
What?
Yep. So you're getting a total of 12 milligrams.
Do some
for
market
$20.
research.
that's some
Seth.
Hollywood prices
Yeah,
right there,
do
baby.
some market research.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Your buddies at Can are gonna whoop you if not.
Oh yeah. All right, we got 2 more here. The penultimate one, OCM, the Minnesota Office of Cannabis Management, canceled their social equity pre-approval lottery and moved forward with the first round of full licensure. Do you think this will be one of those moments that we'll keep talking about for the next few years, or do you think our industry rolls out and people sort of forget about the pre-licensure period? Is this up in smoke? Is it stuck like resin? Is it maybe an in-between? What do you guys think?
It's tough.
Stuck like resin, but like the bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah,
I
Okay.
think it's
Yeah.
can be ignored, but it sucks.
yeah, it's like
yeah.
yeah, it's not like a fun, pleasant flavor,
Yeah.
but you can't Listerine that shit.
Yeah, that's fair. It's like eating really bad food. You sort of remember it, and hopefully
Yeah.
you remember it for a reason.
You never go back.
Don't do it again.
Yeah, I don't think people cared too much. And it's like, I will say the people who did care were like the people who got denied, right? And like all those people will find a way to either feel rectified or get in the industry.
Fair.
So like outside of that,
Yeah.
I guess it's just like,
So like puff pass.
Just
We
thinking about it.
knew about it. We
Yeah.
heard about it. It was
Yeah.
a moment, but now it's sort of, once those licenses go out, we probably won't think about it much more.
mhm.
All right, that's fair.
Yep.
Perfect. And then the last one, I had to save a fun one for the end. Snoop Dogg lit up the entire world by this year carrying the Olympic torch in France. He said, "I look at this as a prestigious honor and something that I truly respect. I'm going to be on my best behavior. I'm going to be on my best athleticism." Do you guys think that the moment of Snoop carrying the torch, signifying the lighter that we all have lit throughout our lifetime, passing our joint to the friend, passing that Olympic torch flame onward, will this be a moment that cannabis remembers forever? Or is this just something that you guys are learning about for the first time right now?
Chills, Tanner. I have chills.
I know, seriously. I'm re-seeing it. I'm playing it back in my head as the momentous occasion it was.
I can see him just like
dreads, the
walking
long,
around.
skinny arm. Wow.
I don't know if it's gonna be like in the zeitgeist as like influential like we need it to be, but maybe we can be the voice for that change.
Yeah.
I'd buy a
uplift-
shirt with Snoop on it.
Dude,
Hold
that's
it.
literally a shirt or a flag. I get that.
Snoop Dogg, if you want to come on the show, email Tanner at mncannabiscollege.org.
We're here.
We're here.
We'd love to help with that.
If you're ever in the Twin Cities.
That's the new 420. I didn't think it was
Yeah.
60 seconds ago, but now
Now we're going to make it.
Snoop's
That's
torch.
420.
Snoop's torch. That is, I didn't realize
Because,
that.
like, thinking about it, though, it is like such. If you think of 1990s Snoop Dogg on trial for murder, and then you see 2024 Snoop Dogg carrying the goddamn Olympic torch, like, that's like a huge win for us in the community.
Totally.
In the stoner community.
Yeah.
Do you think he lit a blunt off of the torch?
Oh, I feel like he must have tried.
I feel
Maybe
like
he
it-
saved some fire from it.
It went through his mind, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
He's gotta.
He's gotta. Dude, I just can't see him not like having one on.
I choose to believe he did.
No.
Yep. I think it's the official
Shirt
canon of the
Snoop.
show. Yeah.
I'm sure you already have them up.
In
I'm
fact,
sure he already has shirts.
wow. Now I even want like a custom made lighter that's like Snoop holding up the torch. That when you like flick it, then the light, like the torch lights up.
In the red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
All right. Top moment of the year. Snoop lighting the torch.
Snoop lighting the torch.
All right, y'all. Well, we're going to take a short break here. When we get back, we're going to be doing the high note. And, John, you're going to be stepping out. So thanks for joining us for this game. It's always a treat to have you here.
Thank you guys for having me. It's always nice.
You're such a gem.
Participate.
Oh, absolutely. Well, what do you think? Let's throw this in before we do the wrap. What do you guys think was the moment for cannabis in 2024? Is there something we didn't talk about? Do you disagree? Do you think Jay-Z's brand shutting down is going to be the thing we all talk about for years to come? Drop it in the comments. We disagree, but we want to hear your thoughts.
I know what I'll be thinking about. That doobie Dabbler.
Doobie Dabbler.
Oh, that was a big Minnesota
Dude,
cannabis.
honestly,
Dude, that
thing.
was a big moment.
That is like one of the events where people who don't talk about weed, who don't really know the industry, heard about that and were around it. Like it's like being out in stores. Like that is one where when I say it, someone will be like, "Oh, my sister went to that." Maybe I hang out in the South Metro a lot too. So,
But there's a reason that I keep mispronouncing the Dabbler Depot. It's the Doobie Dabbler because
It's all chaotic, yeah. And then you got the seed and sesh, and then you got the beer dabbler, and then you got like all the dabbler.
tell you
dabbler.
after, actually.
Yeah.
we'll drop it in the comments. What was your moment? I want to hear. We'll be right back.